Welcome to the Hindi Daily.
Good to be here.
Looking at the stack of stories we have today, it feels like we're looking at the operating manual for the modern world. And finding out some of the pages are missing. We've got constitutional law, high-stakes physics, and the very machinery of how we vote getting jammed up.
It really is a day about systems, isn't it? Specifically, the gap between how systems are supposed to work, a law, a treaty, a particle detector, and how they actually function in, messy reality.
Well, let's start with a system that seems to be running a bit too hot. We're looking at the Directorate of Enforcement, the ED.
Right.
For the last few years, they've been the headline makers. But there's a story here involving a film producer, Akash Bhaskaran, that reads less like a legal case and more like a warning shot.
It's a classic case of what the editorial is calling the Hound Unleashed. And you're right, the Bhaskaran case is the perfect lens because it has all the drama of a movie script.
It really does. I remember this breaking. You couldn't open social media without seeing hashtags about 1,000 crore scam.
The ED raids his house, seizes everything. The narrative was set. He was the kingpin.
The court of public opinion had already convicted him, but here's the twist. When the case actually reached the Madras High Court, the whole thing just evaporated.
Completely.
Evaporated. How do you lose a 1,000 crore case?
By admitting there was no crime to begin with, the High Court found there was no predicate offense.
Okay, let's pause on that term. Predicate offense. We hear it a lot with the PMLA, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. What does that actually mean in plain English?
Think of money laundering as cleaning dirty laundry. For there to be money laundering, there has to be dirt. First, the crime that generated the illegal money.
The bribe, the fraud, whatever.
Exactly. That first crime is the predicate offense. If there's no dirt, you can't be guilty of cleaning it.
So the ED arrested him for cleaning money but couldn't prove the money was dirty.
They did it backward, and the High Court was not pleased. They call the search authorizations illegal. And in a move that is almost unheard of, the ED had to offer an unconditional apology.
An unconditional apology from a central agency. That feels like a glitch in the matrix. That never happens.
It's incredibly rare.
Yeah.
But it highlights the core anxiety of this editorial. The ED is supposed to investigate a crime, find evidence, then arrest.
But the logic has been inverted.
It feels like it. Now it's arrest first, create pressure, and see if a crime falls out of the shaking tree.
And the tools they use to shake that tree are pretty intense. I was reading about Section 50 of the PMLA. It sounds draconian.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
Section 50 lets the ED summon anyone, and those statements are admissible in court as evidence against you.
Unlike a normal police interrogation.
Right, and they use the process itself as punishment. Long hours, late nights, immense psychological stress.
And then there's Section 19, the power to arrest based on just reason to believe.
Which is so subjective. If an officer believes you're guilty, you can be taken into custody. The editorial makes a crucial point. These powers were written for terrorists and drug cartels.
Extreme threats.
Yes. But now they're being deployed against political opponents and businessmen where the evidence can be, paper thin.
It's worrying enough when the Hound is biting the wrong people. But the article suggests the Hound might be sick too. We're seeing ED officers getting arrested.
That's the irony that really stings.
Yeah.
We've had recent cases in Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, where ED officers themselves were arrested for bribery and extortion.
So the people hired to stop financial crimes are committing them.
Precisely. It turns the agency into an extortion racket. The editorial draws a sharp contrast. Years ago, the Supreme Court called the CBI a caged parrot. Now the ED is the Hound Unleashed. And a hound without a leash, well, it bites everyone.
Seems the courts are the only ones holding that leash right now. Let's zoom out from our domestic legal troubles to the global map. Republic Day is coming up.
January 26th.
Usually we invite one head of state. But this year, the guest list is crowded.
It is. We're not just inviting a country, we're inviting a bureaucracy. The institutional leadership of the European Union is the chief guest.
The whole bloc. That's a signal. What is India trying to say?
It's a signal that our diplomatic strategy for 2026 is shifting. The analysis calls it filling the white spaces.
White spaces. That sounds a bit abstract, like we're painting a map.
Yeah, kind of. Think of geopolitics as a crowded dinner party. You have the loud tables, the U.S. and China shouting at each other. But then there are these quiet corners where important work needs doing, but no one is taking charge. Those are the white spaces.
And India wants to be the convener at those tables.
Exactly.
So Europe is one of those tables.
Europe is the technical table. This isn't just about trading cars.
Yeah.
Engaging the EU is about writing the rules of the future economy data standards, carbon taxes, AI.
Right. While the US and China fight over dominance, Europe is quietly setting the regulations.
And we want to be in the room when those rules are written.
Makes sense. If you can't be the superpower, be the rule maker. But the article also mentions BRICS and the Quad. BRICS has been expanding like crazy.
It has, and that's the danger. The expert view here is that BRICS is at a tipping point. There's a lot of pressure, mostly from China and Russia, to turn it into an anti-West megaphone.
It's a platform for complaining about America.
And India doesn't want that. We need BRICS to be functional, not just theatrical. We want the new development bank to actually lend money. We want practical toolkits for the global south.
And then there's the Quad US, Japan, Australia, India.
Right, which is usually seen as the security counterbalance. But notice the shift for 2026. The focus isn't just on naval exercises, it's on public goods.
Public goods, like free Wi-Fi for the ocean.
Close. Things like maritime domain awareness, helping smaller countries know who is fishing in their waters, building resilient ports. Basically, India wants the Quad to be a service provider for the Indian Ocean.
So the big takeaway for diplomacy in 2026 is that the biggest table, like the UN, might be gridlocked. So we're building smaller tables where we can actually get things done.
That's it. And keep an eye out this February. India is hosting the AI Impact Summit in Delhi. That's India trying to build a brand new table for the biggest technology of our time.
Speaking of big technology, or maybe tiny technology with huge implications, let's talk physics. This next story, it honestly blew my mind. We're trying to catch a ghost.
The Graviton, the ghost particle of the universe.
Scientists at Stevens Institute and Yale are building a machine to detect a single graviton. Now, I thought we already found gravitational waves. Didn't we give out a Nobel for that?
We did, but there's a huge difference between a wave and a particle. Think of a tsunami hitting the shore. It's massive, powerful. That's a gravitational wave. We can detect that.
Okay.
But detecting a graviton is like standing on the beach and trying to feel the impact of a single water molecule within that tsunami. It's the smallest possible unit of gravity.
Why go through all that trouble? Is this just for bragging rights?
It's for the holy grail of physics. Right now, physics is broken. We have general relativity for big stuff and quantum mechanics for small stuff.
And they don't talk to each other.
They hate each other mathematically. If we find the graviton, we prove that gravity is a quantum force. It bridges the gap. It's the theory of everything.
Okay, so the stakes are infinite. But I read that for decades, people thought this was physically impossible. Something about needing a detector the size of Jupiter.
Actually, worse. You need a detector the size of Jupiter, placed next to a neutron star, and you'd have to wait longer than the age of the universe to see one click.
So how are the folks at Yale doing it without a Jupiter-sized machine?
They're using a cylinder of superfluid helium cooled down to its quantum ground state.
Which means absolute zero.
Near enough. It means the liquid is totally silent. No vibration, no noise. The quietest place in the universe. And they're using a principle called resonance. The article uses the wine glass analogy.
The opera singer breaking the glass.
Exactly. The old Jupiter theory assumed you had to stop the graviton like a wall stops a bullet.
Yeah.
But the new theory says you don't need to stop it. You just need to vibrate with it.
So they're tuning this helium to the frequency of gravity.
Yes. It's called the gravitophonic effect. The graviton interacts with the whole fluid at once. If the detector clicks, even once, it means it absorbed a packet of energy.
But, and there's always a but in quantum physics, not everyone is buying it. There's a skeptic, Daniel Carney, who talks about a bell.
The bell analogy is a brilliant critique. Imagine you have a bell that can only make one sound. Ding! It can't make half a ding.
It's all or nothing.
Right. Now imagine the wind blows on it. The wind is continuous, not made of little pellets. But the bell responds by going ding. Carney's argument is, just because your detector went ding, it doesn't prove the thing that hit it was a particle. It might just be that your detector can only respond in clicks.
So the click might be a property of the machine, not the gravity.
Exactly. It's a fierce debate. But the researcher, Igor Pukovsky, argues that because of energy conservation, a click must imply a distinct packet of energy was absorbed. He admits it's not bulletproof yet, but they're building the machine.
Incredible. Okay. From the purely theoretical to the very practical. We're still looking at atoms, but in a way that might change how we drive. Scientists have found a new state of matter.
The solid-liquid hybrid.
Which sounds impossible, like dry water.
It happens at the nanoscale. Researchers in Germany and the UK trapped a metal nanoparticle inside a sheet of graphene.
Graphene like a net.
Think of it like a net, yeah. The atoms on the outside of the particle got stuck in the net, so they were solid. But the atoms in the core remained liquid.
Like a chocolate truffle, hard shell, soft center.
A very, very hot truffle. These things stayed liquid at 200 to 300 degrees Celsius temperatures, where they should have frozen solid. The outer atoms corralled the liquid inside.
Okay, but why do we care about hot liquid center atoms?
Hydrogen cars.
Mm.
Right now, hydrogen fuel cells use platinum catalysts. The problem is, over time, those little platinum particles clump together. When they clump, they stop working.
And this hybrid state stops the clumping.
It pins the particles in place, because the shell is solid, but keeps the inside active and liquid-like. It could be the breakthrough that makes hydrogen engines durable enough for the mass market.
From the durability of engines to the durability of our bank accounts. Let's talk about retirement. We have a deep dive here into the TAPS model in Tamil Nadu.
This is a story about the biggest headache in Indian public finance. The old pension scheme versus the new.
Break it down for anyone who isn't a government employee. Why is there such a war over this?
It's about the gap between generations. If you're retired under the old scheme before 2003, you get a defined pension, say 1.3 lakh a month, guaranteed by the government.
Right.
If you joined after 2003, your money went into the market, no guarantees. The disparity created a massive class divide within the workforce.
So Tamil Nadu introduced TAPS, the Tamil Nadu Assured Pension Scheme, just on January 1st, 2026. Is it just a rebranding, or is it actually better?
It's significantly better. In fact, it might be the most generous hybrid model in the country right now.
How so?
Look at the math. The central government recently proposed a unified pension scheme, or UPS. That offers 50% of the average of your last 12 months' pay.
Okay.
TAPS offers 50% of your last month's drawn pay.
That's a huge distinction. People usually get a raise right at the end of their career.
Exactly. The last drawn pay is almost always higher. Plus, TAPS has no minimum service requirement for that assured payout, where the central plan requires 10 years. And family pension is set at 60%.
This sounds great for the employees, but who's paying for this?
Well, the taxpayers. The state has to pay a one-time lump sum of 13,000 crore to kickstart the fund, plus another 11,000 crore annually.
That is a massive bill.
It is, but the government did the math. The old pension scheme was eating up nearly 22% of the state's tax revenue. It was a ticking time bomb.
So TAPS is an expensive compromise.
It's an expensive compromise, but it prevents the state from going bankrupt while giving employees way more security than the market could. It's a fascinating experiment.
A system trying to find balance. Well, our final story is about a system that seems totally out of sync. Digital failures.
The headline is SIR 2.0, the special intensive revision of voters. But really, this is about how digital tools can be weaponized against citizens, often unintentionally.
The anecdotes are wild. A Nobel laureate and a former police commissioner getting summons to prove they live in their own homes.
It's absurd. Monks from the Ramakrishna Math are being hauled in because their parents' names don't match, completely ignoring that they're monks. But the reason why this is happening is the real story.
It's not just incompetence.
It's a capacity mismatch. The Election Commission has a powerful digital backend called ESINet. It could verify people using data, but on the ground, they're sending physical paper summons for errors the computer could fix in seconds.
And the article mentions the non-mapped crisis. What is that?
It's a legacy error from 2002. The system lost location data for millions of voters. They got flagged as non-mapped. Now, 24 years later, the system is waking up and blaming the voter for that error.
But here's the part that terrified me. The Form 6 trap. Walk us through this.
It is so dangerous. If your name was accidentally deleted, the officials might say, "Don't worry, just file Form 6.
Which sounds helpful.
But it's a trap. Form 6 is technically for new voters. By signing it, you are declaring that you have never been enrolled before.
But if I've been voting for 20 years?
Then you're lying on a government document. You become liable for criminal action for a false declaration. The system forces you to lie to fix its mistake.
That shifts all the risk onto the citizen, so what's the solution?
The experts are calling for a digital-first approach. Stop the physical summons. Use Aadhaar. Use document uploads. Verify people on the back end. Don't treat a 20-year voter like a criminal suspect just because a database from 2002 had a glitch.
It seems like a recurring theme today, doesn't it? Whether it's the ED acting like a hound or the Election Commission using paper forms, systems need to respect the people they serve.
Absolutely. From the physics of the very small to the massive machinery of pensions and voting. We build these systems to make life understandable. But when they become opaque or aggressive, they defeat their own purpose.
Well, that is all the time we have for today's deep dive. We went from the quantum realm to the polling booth, and I think we're all a little wiser for it.
Definitely.
Thank you for listening. If you want to provide suggestions, please contact on the Twitter handle given in the episode description. As always, we are eager to hear what our listeners want to be informed about. We wish you a great day.